Let's move on now to Psalm 140. For the leader, a psalm of David. Rescue me, O Lord, from evil men. Save me from the lawless, whose minds are full of evil schemes, who plot war every day. They sharpen their tongues like serpents, spiders' poison is on their lips. Selah. O Lord, keep me out of the clutches of the wicked. Save me from lawless men who scheme to make me fall. Arrogant men laid traps with ropes for me. They spread out a net along the way. They set snares for me. Selah. I said to the Lord, you are my God. Give ear, O Lord, to my pleas for mercy. O God, my Lord, the strength of my deliverance, you protected my head on the day of battle. O Lord, do not grant the desires of the wicked. Do not let their plans succeed, else they be exalted. Selah. May the heads of those who beset me be covered with the mischief of their lips. May coals of fire drop down upon them, and they be cast into pits, never to rise again. Let slanderers have no place in the land. Let the evil of the lawless man drive him into corrals. I know that the Lord will champion the cause of the poor, the right of the needy. Righteous men shall surely praise your name. The upright shall dwell in your presence. Now, who are the wicked that the psalmist is referring to here? He is primarily focused on slanderers, on people who speak evil with their tongues. Their tongues are like serpents, spiders' poison is on their lips. In other words, through the power of speech, they drip venom and they commit terrible evil in the world. Today, in today's day and age, when we watch the news or when we watch particular kinds of television shows or movies that focus on political conspiracies, that sort of thing, I am constantly astonished at the depth and extent of evil and evil machinations and devisings of people who spend their time plotting out mischief with the intent to do harm to others. And very often, they don't commit acts of violence with their hands. They commit acts of violence with their speeches or with their speech and with their planning. And so it makes me think of a scene from one of my favorite movies, perhaps my favorite movie of all time, The Godfather, where Michael Corleone, the son of the mafia Don Vito, is having a conversation with his fiancée, Kay. And the context of this is that Vito had dreams and hopes that Michael would someday get out of the family business and become a leading politician, like a senator. And as Michael is discussing the family with Kay, and they're talking about some of the differences between politics or political leaders and mafia bosses and capos. And Kay says something like, at least the politicians aren't guilty of committing murder. I can't reconstruct the conversation verbatim, but it's something like that. Michael looks at her and says, now who's being naive, Kay? That is to say, Michael is talking about and insinuating that senators also, and presidents and politicians, commit acts of violence and even murder simply by saying the word. They say the word, and then someone underneath them goes out and does their bidding. It's easy to make a direction, to issue a command, a directive towards others to go out and commit acts of violence and murder and mayhem. And the ones who say those words, and they may be politicians, who say those words imagine that they themselves are exonerated, that they are off the hook because they are not the ones going out and actually doing the deed. But in fact, the one who issues the order is just as culpable as the one who carries it out. In contemporary life, it never ceases to amaze me the dichotomy between people who set out simply to do harm out of their own narcissistic drive for power and influence, whereas other people in the world simply set out to do good and have it in their hearts to live a life of service, of doing for others, of making the world a better place, and trying to counteract and stop the harm that is perpetrated by others in our midst who set out to do harm and to do evil. Now, perhaps I am oversimplifying that is. And simply it's too easy and cut and dry to say there are simply two types of people, the harmers and the do-gooders. The fact is that all of us are do-gooders, and all of us also set out sometimes to do harm. But the psalmist is reminding us that the power of speech, of the tongue, and the way that our minds devise schemes and plans that then are filtered out through our speech and through things that we tell other people to do, or directives we give to other people, or insinuations that we set out there among other people that we lay and set like traps to ensnare innocent people around us. All of us are guilty of some of these things on some level in our lives. And the psalmist is reminding us to avoid that sort of thing at all cost, to fight and struggle against those who devise evil, to strive against those who are schemers and who plan to harm others, when that is really their chief goal in life, to do harm and to get power for themselves. God protect us from those inclinations. God save us from all the desires of our hearts that lean towards and in the direction of hurting other people around us. And instead, we must allow God to influence and inspire us in the direction of good. Protect our tongues from evil, our lips from speaking guile, as we say in this prayer immediately following the Amidah, the silent prayer that is recited 3 times a day during our morning, afternoon, and evening service. We ask God to protect us from evil speech, to guard us from harming others through what we say and from what we plan. If we're going to do any planning at all, let us use our minds and our power of our brains to create plans in order to do good in the world. If we're going to strategize, let's strategize in the direction of not only self-improvement, but strategize in the direction of being helpful and supportive of those around us. Thank you.